The Bodhisattva once served as the royal treasurer. He could read signs and omens like no other. One day, beneath a rare constellation, he saw a dead mouse lying by the road. To himself, he muttered that whoever picked it up would find success in business and love. A young man with a kind heart overheard him. Trusting the Bodhisattva's wisdom, he picked up the mouse and sold it for a single farthing to a tavern owner who needed cat food. Little did he know, this seemingly insignificant act would be the spark for an incredible chain of events. The young man spent his farthing on a jar of molasses. He approached some flower gatherers, offering them both the molasses and some water in exchange for a few blooms. He sold these flowers and used the profit to buy more molasses the next day. This time, the flower gatherers, impressed by his kindness, surprised him with flowering plants. He quickly sold them, turning his 1 farthing into 8 pennies. One stormy afternoon, a strong wind wreaked havoc in the king's palace grounds, scattering leaves and branches everywhere. Overwhelmed, the gardener offered the young man a deal. He could clear up the mess if he kept everything. The young man saw an opportunity and agreed. He then had a clever idea. He went to a nearby playground and offered the children some molasses in exchange for their help gathering the debris. With their enthusiastic teamwork, they swiftly cleared the palace grounds. As luck would have it, the royal potter happened by just then. In desperate need of fuel for his kiln, he readily bought the piled-up leaves and branches from the young man for 16 pennies, even throwing in some pottery as a bonus. The young man's good fortune continued. He filled a jar with water and offered it to a group of 500 grass cutters working near the city gate. They were thankful for the refreshing drink and offered their help in return for any favor he might need. At the same time, he struck up a friendship with a wealthy merchant, who informed him about a horse dealer arriving the next day with 500 horses to sell. The young man saw another chance and went back to the grass cutters. They remembered their promise and readily agreed to hold off selling their own grass until he sold his first bundle. Left with no alternative, the horse dealer had to buy grass from the young man, but at a much higher price, a whopping 1,000 coins. Days later, with another tip from the merchant friend, the young man learned about a large ship arriving at the port. He hatched a daring plan. He hired a fancy carriage to create a facade of wealth and made a grand entrance at the port. There, with a surprising blend of charm and confidence, he convinced the ship's owner to sell him all the cargo on credit. Later, when other merchants arrived to buy from the ship, they were surprised to learn that everything had already been sold. But the young man, maintaining his active power, had them escorted into a luxurious pavilion by 3 successive ushers, creating an even more impressive image. One by one, he managed to convince each merchant to buy a share in the ship, earning himself a staggering 200,000 coins in a single deal. Just 4 months after picking up that dead mouse, the young man had become immensely wealthy. He returned to the Bodhisattva, overflowing with gratitude. He offered him half his newfound fortune as a token of appreciation. The Bodhisattva, deeply impressed not just by the young man's success but also by his kindness and resourcefulness, saw a potential far greater than mere wealth. He saw a leader with a wise and just heart. So, the Bodhisattva did something extraordinary. He welcomed the young man into his family, marrying him to his own daughter. This unexpected turn of events secured the young man's social standing and filled his life with love and happiness. And sadly, when the Bodhisattva eventually passed away, the young man, forever grateful for his guidance and trust, rose to the occasion. His sharp mind, coupled with his kind heart, made him the perfect candidate to become the new royal treasurer. He used his wealth and experience to improve the lives of those around him, forever carrying the spirit of kindness that had marked his rise from humble beginnings. Work hard, be kind, and be patient, and amazing things will happen. By Lord Buddha.